This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
We're just opening up the waiting room here, so thanks for your patience. I'm gonna just put people on mute for now. Thanks, Augustine. We will talk to you later. Have a good night. Okay. So if you think you might need to be on mute, check yourself. We're getting some. Okay. Bear with me while I. So we're just letting a few more people in. Hi, everyone. Again, just want to say welcome. We have, we're welcoming back Christy Gonzalez again tonight, and we're going to do our round the room hellos. Augustine is not going to be here for this part of the session, and so we're going to just make sure we get a few more people in here real quick, and then we'll get started.
Hello,
So
everyone. Jessamine.
Let's see. So Octavio, if you want to begin, Octavio is going to be our master of ceremonies for going around the room today. I'll turn it over to you for now, and then we can welcome Christy back.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Agustin is traveling today, so I'm with the co-host today. We are going to continue the introductions as usual. The only thing we are going to add up today is the question about who is your ideal customer. So I'm going to go and ask as I see everybody here in front of me. So I'm going to start with Daniel Silva. Daniel, can you hear me?
So Danielle is our interpreter, Octavio.
Oh,
so
I'm sorry.
We'll let her go. Yeah.
Matt, I'm sorry, Matt. Can you start? Let's start with Matt. Matt G.
Sure. My name is Matt, and my business name is going to be The Palace on the Corner, and my ideal customer would be probably college students, as well as there's a nearby factory. So those two groups.
Perfect. Excellent. All right, let's go with Kimberly Bacum.
How do I do it?
You're on mute, Kimberly.
Okay, hello.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, my name is Kimberly Blockham. I'm trying to start a CNA/home health aid business. My ideal customer would be elderly population or disabled people who are homebound, maybe 70 and up, or like people who work during the week and they don't have time to attend to their loved ones. or they need like respite or personal care or errands done. So that would be my ideal customer.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next on the screen, I have Rolando.
Mi nombre es Rolando, soy de la ciudad de Rochester y estoy emprendiendo en el negocio de bienes raíces y actualmente me encuentro trabajando.
¿Y quién sería tu cliente ideal?
Bueno, tengo varias amistades y esas amistades me han recomendado otras amistades y me ha ido bien hasta ahora.
Muy bien. Ok. Siguiente, Mariceli Marte.
Hello, me llamo Mariceli Malte y soy a woman's life coach here on East Rochester. And pretty much the ideal client for me would be someone who is seeking spiritual growth and has a desire to make a positive change in their lives and to help the client gain clarity, goals, and purpose, develop a healthier habit and relationships in their lives, and discover their inner strength through prayer, through scriptures, studies, cultivate emotional well-being, practice self-care, set boundaries with grace and compassion, and forgive the past, hurts, or mistakes, and help them to find an abundance, joy in life.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Kayla, hello. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us who your ideal customer is?
Hi, my name is Kayla Diaz. My name of my business is Cake Lani. I provide customized cakes, customized cupcakes, cake cups, and my ideal customers are pretty much anybody looking to celebrate any type of event, literally any type of event. So, yeah,
Very
that's
good.
it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next online is Jacqueline Nieves.
Hola, mi nombre es Jacqueline Nieves, soy de aquí de la ciudad de Rochester. Mi nombre pensado para mi negocio sería Jackie's Kitchen, se refiere a comida puertorriqueña, especialidad sería en catering y bandejas de fritura, bandejas puertorriqueñas. Quisiera tener un restaurante.
¿Y quién será tu cliente ideal?
Mis amistades que me recomiendan muchas personas de afuera.
Ok. Muy bien. Siguiente es Amy Hayes.
Hi, my name is Amy, and I'm here with my business partner, Lauren Birdsall, to open up Charlie's Canine Camp. And our ideal customer would be current pet owners and or future pet owners.
Very good. How about Jaylene Abraham?
Hi, my name is Jaylyn. I am partnering with my mother, Edna, who's currently on here as well. We're launching a Simple Pleasures business, which includes customized gift boxes. It can be for birthdays, Mother's Day, anniversary, really anything celebration-wise. We're also doing customized chocolates, chocolate-covered strawberries, and different treats. I would say my ideal customer would be anybody looking to celebrate a holiday or somebody that can't find the perfect gift.
Very good. Next, I have Melissa Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Gonzalez, and my business will specialize in providing accounting services for small businesses and individuals to guide them to financial success. And my customers will basically be small businesses and individuals. Hola, mi nombre es Melissa. Mi negocio se va a especializar en servicios de contabilidad para pequeñas empresas y individuos para guiarlos hacia el éxito de financiero.
Muy bien, gracias. Rolando.
Excuse me, Octavio, just people, in case they need to be reminded when we start, to get into the whatever room they prefer. I'm getting a reminder here from Augustine if you need to be in listening in Spanish or English. Thanks. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. Karina Chamorro.
Hi, hola. My current business name is RJ Designs. Mi negocio se llama RJ Diseño. So we specialize in logos, business cards, and car decals or stickers in general. Hacemos logos, tarjetas de negocio y stickers en general. Our ideal clients would be anyone that's starting off a business, that's looking for a logo, or just wants stickers for water bottles, computers, cars, anything. Nuestro cliente ideal sería alguien que esté empezando su negocio, para las tarjetas de negocio, logo, o alguien que quiera sticker, perdona, quiera sticker o le gusta el sticker para botellas de agua, para su computadora, para su carro, lo que sea.
Ok, muy bien. Siguiente, Kimberly Chappell.
Hi. So my name is Kimberly, and I am opening up a gymnastics facility in Newark. It's called Elite Tumbling. It's in the beginning phase of it, but my ideal customer is going to be between like school age, between like 3-year-olds up to high schoolers or even college kids to work on training for cheerleading.
Muy bien, muchas gracias. Jacoby.
Hi there, my name is Jacoby, and I will be founding a nonprofit farm in CSA that'll provide food to families and individuals in need who belong to certain minority groups who are dealing with food insecurity and relying on food banks and cheap processed foods from the grocery store. My ideal customers, I have 2 separate segments. The nonprofit will focus on customers that are suffering with food insecurity. They are using the cheaper, more processed foods, canned foods, box foods that they're getting from food banks or the grocery store, and we'll be providing them with fresher, healthier foods, fruits, vegetables, eggs, that sort of thing. And then another segment will be the people who can actually afford to purchase shares from the farm, and the shares that they purchase will help to fund the nonprofit side. So those people will be usually between the ages of about 30 and 60. They will have the money to purchase the shares. They're more interested in farm fresh foods rather than buying from the grocery store, and they're looking to support local businesses typically.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Barb Glassman.
Hi, how are you today, everyone? It's Barb Glassman over at the commissary. I am working with Ibero to design additional training like this for our food entrepreneurs, and I welcome the opportunity to be with you all tonight.
Thank you very much. Anita, you're next in line. Anita, can you hear us? I guess not. Xiomara Cadiz.
So Anita just put a message in the chat there, Octavio. My name is Anita. I'm in the planning stages of a nonprofit community farm to table and eventually manage my own farmer's market. My ideal customers would be anyone who is interested in healthy eating or learning about healthy eating. And her mic doesn't work. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you very
Anita.
much. Thanks, Anita. Xiomara Cadiz.
Hi, guys. So my company is going to be called Green Mountain Insulators, and my ideal customer is companies that want to save in heating and fueling costs, that want to save money at the end of the year with taxes, and that are looking to update safety equipment, you know, to get with the times and be more fuel efficient and cut down on fossil fuels.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Lauren? Okay, Grace Riley?
Lauren just left a message for you.
Yeah, my connection is not, all right. It's not great. My business partner, Amy, already explained about our business, Charlie's Canning Camp. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening. My name is Grace. I have started my mentor program called Rising Daughters, and it is a mentor program serving women and girls ages 8 to 35, and it's focused on youth development, youth justice and prison ministry, reconciliation support groups between mothers and daughters, and education on abstinence and a scope of wellness and Christianity faith, and different workshops.
Very good. Thank you very much. Next one, Nelly.
Hello. So yeah, my name is Nellie and I'm partnering with my cousin Jackie, who had to log off because she's got a meeting right now. But anyways, we're planning on opening a bar and lounge in the Wayne County area, and the people that we'd like to attract are anybody that's just wanting to come and just hang out, feel comfortable lounging around, have a nice cocktail and some appetizers.
And how do you define your ideal customer?
Oh, adults. Adults out to have a good time.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Next, I have Jesselyn Cruz. Jesselyn, can you hear us? Okay, I guess not. How about Jerry? No, apparently it's not there. Fred Ferrer.
Hi, saludos. Mi nombre es Fred Ferrer. No tengo negocio en este momento. Estamos planificando. Es una pizzería con un estilo diferente. Buenas tardes a todos.
¿Y quién sería tu cliente ideal?
Mi cliente ideal, estoy más enfocado en la familia y tratando de buscar los jóvenes.
Muy bien, gracias.
Gracias.
Siguiente es Edna Chimao. Edna, can you hear us? Well, I guess it's everybody here. Did I miss anybody?
I think you have to go to the next page.
All right, let's see.
So if you click the arrow on the right arrow.
Yes, let me see here. I think I have everybody here.
I think you do too.
Okay, so are we ready for Christy?
Yes, so thank you, Octavio, for
Oh, you're welcome.
for getting
Thank you.
everybody in there. If anyone
Thank
we
you,
missed
everybody.
you, we'll have a conversation like later. We can you know, try to get to know each other on these calls as we go. So we're gonna just hop right in with Christy Gonzalez is gonna start on day 2. We're gonna pull up her information here, and Christy, whenever you're ready, we will.
Okay.
While
you're
share
putting
my screen.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I believe we had a good session last week, so I know you guys are excited for this session today. I promise it's going to be easier, and it's going to start connecting for you. I do want to start by saying that you guys did all a wonderful job saying what your ideal customer will be. And as an entrepreneur myself, I get asked this question all the time. It could be during networking or just holding a conversation with someone. So I encourage you to work on when that question is asked. I usually say my ideal client is business to business, which is considered B2B, with revenue base at over 5 million a year. And I know that's like specific, but sometimes when you're asked that question, it's your time to shine, is to let them know what you're looking for. All right, let's see, day 2. Seems pretty simple. We're going to be discussing accounting software, introduction to QuickBooks, which is a software. And then we're going to talk about tax deductions and tax forms, very basic. And it's going to wrap up your understanding to why it's important to track your expenses. Ready for the next slide? So accounting software, you know, it's pretty much where you're doing your bookkeeping. This is where you don't have to write anything by hand or use an Excel spreadsheet. It's supposed to automate, make it easier for you. It's going to hold all your important financial information, kind of what we talked about last week. Your AR, which is accounts receivable, money that's owed to you. It's going to hold your accounts payable, which is what you owe other people. It's going to hold your financial statements we covered last week. So this is going to be a great exercise to kind of get you familiarized what kind of accounting softwares there are out there for your business and which ones meet your need. Next slide. Thank you, Anne. Excuse me. Okay. I decided to just put 3 accounting softwares that are very well known. One is QuickBooks, also known as Intuit, Oracle, and Sage. I myself have worked in over 10 different programs from Bazawi, Sage 500, Sage 600. So there are many, many accounting softwares. Before I move forward, is there any questions regarding accounting softwares?
What do you recommend for beginners?
Perfect. Good question, Melissa. So for beginners, I recommend QuickBooks. And this is why I chose to show you how QuickBooks looks and how it works on a basic level. QuickBooks are customized for small businesses. As we move along, you'll see why I recommend QuickBooks. But depending on your business, QuickBooks might not be a great fit for you. I could give you examples. If you decide to open a nonprofit that receives grants, QuickBooks is not an accounting software that would be greatly utilized for your business. So Oracle is one of the top line accounting softwares, but the most important, most expensive. I've seen Oracle go for over $250,000. Sage is the most popular, but in my opinion, it's the most complex. So to answer your question, QuickBooks. All right, we could go to the next slide. I'm covering why QuickBooks could help. It just makes streamlining your accounting, your bookkeeping more easier to handle, especially when you're starting off. And it's very cost efficient. The next slides will show you why QuickBooks will be able to help your business. Next slide. After this workshop, I encourage you to go Google QuickBooks costs and investigate if QuickBooks is for you. There's a plan called Simple Start, another plan called Essentials, and Plus, Advanced. I mean, QuickBooks could just add for your business. But I decided to keep it very simple and just put 3. As you can see, Simple Start gives you the basic package, and then Essentials just has add-ons. So think about your business right now. Do you need to track inventory? That will be that you need a plus. Do you need to add 3 users? So this is something you're going to want to think about when it's time for you to, purchase a software for your bookkeeping. The next slide will help talk a little bit more about cost, and then I'll pause for questions. As you can see, QuickBooks, there's coupon codes out there. They want to gain your business. You could pay up to $5 a month with the right coupon code for 3 months. And if you want to know the trick, log into QuickBooks, then log off. Log back into QuickBooks and log off. You'll just get better deals as they see that you keep returning back. I strongly encourage you guys to all take 3 months of a free trial. I believe there's a free trial for like 2 weeks. Any questions on QuickBooks for now? All right, well, going to the next slide.
Christy, it's Barb Glassman. Quick question. At one point, there was a place in town that was offering QuickBooks training, either free or cost effectively. Is that still going on? Are you familiar? I want to say it had to do with MCC.
I have not seen a resource for free training. I have seen many individuals pay a lot of money for the training. I'm more than happy to share my experience on the costs, but I do want to say that QuickBooks, when you set it up, they actually give you a free guide to set up your first initial step. And if you still don't get it, they charge $50 a session. But bookkeeping is kind of a skill set. There's tutorials on YouTube and QuickBooks. You're absolutely right. I love YouTube, by the way. And thank you for that, Jacoby. Absolutely. YouTube, Google. There's many ways that you could work through QuickBooks. But depending on the industry and how you're going to customize the software to benefit you, you're going to have to get some training on that. Thanks, Barb.
Barb, I would also add to that, Barb, it's a good question because we often talk about at Ibero trying to offer this as a class. So when we get to that point, we'll definitely let you know. It's on our radar screen and we're interested in being able to offer that.
Yeah, and I'll talk with Augustine about it because I do know there was something going on at MCC that I'm sure is not free, but I think there's a high need to at least get people started in it. So we'll work together. We'll figure it out.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that would be very beneficial because I have not run across a free seminar, and I think that would be great. So the next slide just kind of shows that, you could integrate QuickBooks to talk to PayPal. So if you don't have a merchant, accepting credit cards and all you have is PayPal, which I'm sure you guys all know. And if you don't know, it's free. You connect your PayPal to your business account, and then you could set up PayPal into your QuickBooks. So you have transactions flowing in and flowing out. I just got muted. All right. Sorry, guys. I just got muted, so I got thrown off a little bit. But what I'm trying to show you in this slide is that if you are selling in Shopify, you're using your Square, you could integrate with QuickBooks. All right. Just trying to slow down here to make sure that everyone is understanding and translation about QuickBooks. I decided to take a quick snip of my QuickBooks. And this is how your dashboard will look. Tell me this isn't very simple. Can you all understand what you're seeing here? Does anybody see how when your money comes in, your money comes out, your reports? My QuickBooks is letting me know I have 17 transactions to check. As you can see on my left side ribbon, I could just pull a report like we learned about last week. I could enter my mileage for my taxes. And if I really need help, I could press live bookkeeping. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Next slide. The next slide, I thought it was very important for you to see, because last week we were discussing reports, and I wanted to show you that QuickBooks generates this report for you. As you can see, I put a star on my balance sheet. Does anybody remember what the balance sheet does for you? Everybody forgot? How about your profit and loss?
Forgot my cheat sheet.
Okay, well, your profit and loss lets your investors know how healthy your company is. And so does your balance sheet. It shows your assets and your liabilities. And as you can see, I have a star in accounts receivable aging. Can anybody figure why that's a great report to keep right in the top? Accounts receivable.
Is that the money that they owe you?
Yes.
Woohoo!
Yes, Melissa, yes. So I keep a very close eye on who that I'm still waiting for. So I just thought this was so neat to show you all, because I don't want you to be worried about your accounting skills. What you need to worry about as an entrepreneurial is tracking your expenses, tracking your revenue. And an accounting software could help you through all that. Any questions before we move on? Nope. And I was going to show them other apps they could connect. Perfect. So I just wanted to show you that QuickBooks is adaptable to many of your needs. Something to think about if you're going to use Amazon or you're going to use Etsy to sell your stickers. So this would be a great way to connect as you're tracking your revenue. All right.
Are you saying that you would connect these other apps to your software, to your accounting software? That's what you're saying?
Yes. So as a business owner, when you open a business account in Etsy, it gives you the opportunity to link, to integrate. So every sale you make in Etsy comes right back into your QuickBooks to track. Same thing with eBay. You see this Connect Squared. Does everybody know what Connect Square is? Connect to Square.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? About so many people have used it and swiped it and whatever, but it'd be helpful for people to know what that platform can really do for them.
Yeah, I can't drive, but can you put your mouse on it so everybody can see the logo for me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So Connect Square is the program where when you swipe your credit card, it's easy to use anywhere. You could get a device and plug it to your phone. I'm pretty sure you've seen it at vendor tables, farmers markets. You could even download Square on your phone and someone could tap on your phone. Square is amazing to have, and it's also free. When you open your business, go into Connect to Square and they will ship you a free Square device. They will let you download their app. And the reason why they do this free, it's because they will charge you for every transaction you make through there. But it's still neat to know. All right. Any questions before we talk about taxes?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm gonna have a website for my gym, and the website is pretty advanced. So it the parents can like submit their registration fee, or they can submit the class fees, or like privates and stuff like. Would that be able to connect to this?
Yes. So to answer your question fully, when you open a website, it's going to ask you, do you want to pay extra so we could collect money for you? Or do you want to connect and integrate with another app? So for example, on my website, I have Square, I have PayPal. You could actually put what you want on your website.
Okay, that sounds good. Because I definitely am going to use PayPal to start my business off with like getting purchases and stuff. So
Absolutely. PayPal is the best advice I could give anyone to start off because it's minimal fees and it protects your revenue coming in case there is fraud. PayPal will be able to refund you as well. So I agree why you started with PayPal. Square, it's on the go. Everybody pays with a credit card nowadays on the spot. So just something to think about. Well, thank you. All right, we're going to talk about tax deductions. Woohoo, fun times.
Chrissy, Melissa, did you have a question?
I
see your
did.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
My question is, so let's say you use your own personal money to fund your business. How would you record that in your books, or would that just be like a contribution from like yourself, or how does that work?
Good question, Melissa. So I'm going to talk to you like if you had QuickBooks. If you were to open QuickBooks right now, you will link your business account and you will link your personal account. The minute that you do a transfer of money, QuickBooks will record the transaction. And this is when I say talk to your tax accountant. And they will tell you what kind of contribution would you expense that to, label to. There is contribution shareholder. There is shareholder equity. So depending on your structure and what your CPA tells you, that's how you would categorize it in QuickBooks. But for right now, to answer your question, it's as easy as linking your accounts and then transferring it over from the bank, and QuickBooks will pick it up. I'm more than happy to show you how to do that manually, but that's just more in depth.
Do you guys have a list of tax preparers that you guys recommend?
Ibero.
So I would say, Kimberly, no. I mean, if there's people that we've worked with before that we know are available to work with small businesses, we certainly would. The best thing that I could recommend is contact your local chamber of commerce. You will find there's multiple chambers of commerce all over the place, and they're membership-driven organizations of businesses that are there to share their services. So it's a really great way to get a referral. People know who they are. I would start with your local chamber of commerce, and certainly just check if you have any friends that are in business and if they are working with someone, and who they may recommend.
That's a great point, Anne. And Kimberly, I think it was Kimberly who asked that question. I believe there's going to be a tax accountant next week, according to Augustine.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now that we're going to be talking about tax deductions, I just want to say it again. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm a business accountant, which we could go over and over about what that means. But I prepare businesses and work with CPAs. But since I'm cross industries, I have in-depth knowledge where I could guide you. But I still recommend, talking to a tax advisor, tax accountant, someone who specializes in your industry. That's very important. Okay, so tax deductions. With that said, I'm sorry, I was just reading a message there. All right, so tax deductions. I wanted to wrap this learning experience back to the basics, back to the beginning. I love the questions, but if you are starting off, we got to talk about tracking your expenses. It's all tied to your tax deductions, which this is where you owe the money, the government, and this is where you may be audited because you didn't specify where this expense came from. So I just listed a few to start thinking. I heard that your next workshop is going to be based on trying to think about, what expenses your company needs. So this is a perfect time to look at the slide. Do you need advertising? Did you know that that's a tax deduction? Probably not. Or maybe you did because you took marketing last week. Who knows? Your expenses for your vehicle. Did you know that if your car weighs over 6,000 pounds, you could classify it as an expense under your business? Something to think about. Are you going to be lugging equipment? So just looking at this, does anybody have any questions about tax deductions that I could answer? Very basic. It's really to let you know, pay attention to what you're spending, because you could write this off by the end of the year.
When you talk to a tax accountant, like to get some advice, do you recommend, so like I'm trying to look for certain, things that the government offers in tax deductions for the companies if they get the service that I provide. Is that something that I would talk to a tax accountant about to kind of, or just me find out on my own?
So your company it's actually very special because there are grants and there's a lot of ties when you're getting money from the government for fuel efficient. I mean, there's a lot of money out there. So yes, talk to your tax accountant to make sure that you're tying your expenses and your revenue correctly, because you got to report this back to the government, if you're taking, resources and grants. So to answer your question, you're going to have to find a company. You're going to have to find an accountant or someone who specializes in your field. Okay. Because they're going to help you the most. I could help you, but your field, it's just, I'm not an expert in fuel, commissions and grant.
Would a tax accountant be able to provide me with the information that I could give to my clients on that? Or if I found a tax accountant that specialized in my field, you're saying, right? Find one that specializes in my field, then they would help me be able to find out which, basically how I could sell it to my clients.
No, yeah, the tax accountant will not do that for you. Your tax accountant will look at your revenue and expenses and help you prepare for the year by your tax deductions and talk to you about laws and talk to you about compliance. But what you're asking for is not a tax accountant. Okay. I would start off by going to like state government websites, which I'm more than happy to send you some. Yeah. And it could start opening up the information and resources you need. Here's one on top of my head. Apex, APEX. I should write this down, but it's called Accelerator. I'm gonna write it on the field. Hold on, just in case anybody wants to take a look.
Thanks, Jacoby. I saw that in there too.
Okay. All right. I think I did it right. Okay, so New York State Gov, when you go in there, there's also resources. Your company is very interesting and there's a lot of resources for what you want to open. And that should be able to help you target your audience. Yes. Right. Okay. Yes. Your tax accountant could only help you itemize, categorize your revenue, and your expenses.
That's perfect. I know how to separate it now. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question. You mentioned grants and things like that. I guess this is where I would like to know a little more information on. We haven't started our business yet. We're still in that, trying to figure out exactly what we want and I guess my question is how to get started. So, you know, you mentioned grants and then we have to, you know, give that information back to the government, but where can we go to get these grants?
Can I answer that question, Christy? So Jackie, are you in the business with Nellie?
Yes.
Okay, so grants are typically for nonprofits, so you have to be, they're typically charitable, scientific. There's a couple very defined categories for grants. And so I just want to assure you that it's a very common question that someone starting a business will ask. Are there any grants available for me to start my business? It's a very, very common question. So common that I will call the SBA regularly, once or twice, you know, every now and then, and just double check. Am I missing anything? Are there grants for small businesses? So in some places now, you want to check with the municipality or the town to see, there's some very specific places that if you put in 5,000 or 10,000, they may, because they're trying to fill up storefronts, they may be able to provide some money. My gut reaction is you're not planning a business. You're not going to start a business on a grant, using a grant. What you're going to do is you're going to establish how much money you need. You're going to figure out how much money you need and where that money is going to come from. During COVID, there was a lot of businesses that suffered, and the state and federal governments came up with some grants to try to be helpful, or some low interest loans. But typically, I don't want to say there's none, because sometimes there are. Like sometimes there are grants, and they're like in the city of North Tonawanda right now, or in Niagara Falls. Like there's certain places with the federal money that's been out there. It goes into separate municipalities and they can distribute this money. But typically, and Christy, I don't know from your experience in accounting, you know, but my gut reaction is you're not going to be digging around looking for grant money. You're going to be making money. Your business is going to make money, and it's going to maybe cost, you know, you're going to figure out how you can start it with the least amount of money so that it's productive. And I think I did see Irv hop on the call earlier, and I'm not sure if you want to comment on this, or if, Barb, if you have anything to add for this, but or Christy, if you want to say anything else about this.
I agree with what you said, and I want everyone to know that I'm still looking for grants. I am a nonprofit. You have to meet specific criteria or find specific funds out there. For example, I put one in the box. Someone sent me this grant. I don't meet none of the speculation, so I can't go for this grant. But maybe one of you guys can. Here's another thing I want you guys to take away from this. You do have to start your business most of the time with your own revenue. This program is amazing for the competition because it's considered pretty much a grant. We're giving you a fund, right? When I say we, I mean Ibero. Don't want to take that away, but sorry, I keep getting these little notices. You want to check with your cities. You want to check with your states. I check the SBA all the time, man, and you're right. I don't see the grants there. It's very slim.
I mean, they recently had the New York State had a seed money grant. They've put that on pause, and it was for businesses that opened after 2018, but before 2021. Like they had this very short window of time and then they ran out of money, you know, so yeah, some of the eligibility requirements are
So if I'm understanding both of you correctly, it's basically you probably want to start your company, have a certain amount of revenue generated. So when you apply for the grant for whatever it is, you have something to like to show.
No, I'm not suggesting that you're going to apply for grants ever unless you're a nonprofit. Like if you are a nonprofit, I mean, you want to be aware, Shiomaro, if there's grants, if occasionally there may be something out there and you will know if you just visit the SBA, the Small Business Administration website, or Empire State Development, ESD, Empire State Development website in New York State will frequently put things out there if they're available. But for the most part, like in your case with the green industry, if I'm saying that correctly, you know,
yes,
finding out that information, that's going to be easy enough to find out why companies become eligible for your services and how companies can apply, you know, can take whatever deductions that they're entitled to for upgrading their equipment. That information is a marketing thing. That's something that you can help educate industrial companies on. But I would just encourage people to not think like we're not here to look for grants. We're here to make money, and the businesses are going to make money.
Didn't mean to go off on a tangent. I was just
No, and we have, I'm sorry, we have gone off a little bit of kind of getting Christy off topic a little bit. So I will just echo that grants are not what for-profit businesses should be pursuing. You will occasionally find matching grants where if you're putting money into a building that's not been on the tax rolls, some government municipality will want to help you get it on the tax rolls, and so they might match some dollars. If you are a women or minority-owned business that's officially in that status, not just you happen to be in that group and own the business, but you have to be certified, you might find some reduced interest rates in loans if at some point you're looking to borrow. That can be at the SBA, so the federal level, it could be through Empire State at the state level, it could be through a county economic. I used to be a county economic development person, so everybody came in looking for grants, which in their mind means free money. That really is not easily available to businesses. You're in business to create jobs, make money. So sometimes there's tax breaks or incentives. Sometimes there's reduced loan amounts because of the kind of business you're doing or the good that you create in the community by providing jobs and things. But you should think about starting with the seed capital you have. And the competitions, even the one that we have in this program, those are pretty commonplace. If you look around, there are competitions where you might get some funding by presenting your business concept and others wanting, seeing it as a good investment. So,
That's perfect. Thank you, Irv. Thank you.
Thank you, Irv.
I'll
Thank
turn
you.
it back over to you, Christy. Thanks for the questions, everyone.
Yes, great questions.
Just
All
a
right.
comment for everybody. When asking a question, make a comment, try to speak slowly so our interpreter can translate accordingly, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Octavio.
All right, we just got excited. Sorry.
That's all right.
Well, thank you, Irv, for jumping in. Nice seeing you. Always good to see another face, another educator. We're just going to go to the next topic because the tax deductions, everyone, is just paying attention to your expenses, and that's what the takeaway is. So keep this list and remind yourself that this list could go on and on and on depending on what company you have. So the next slide, it's gonna just kind of let you know what kind of forms there are with the government. I do not have all the answers, but I'll try. But this is something you need to think about if you're going to hire employees. Is anyone here thinking about hiring employees? You could raise your hand.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I strongly suggest to start looking into employer tax forms. QuickBooks, if categorized your expenses correctly, meaning their payroll, their insurance, their cell phones, their internet bill. And I say there, I'm talking about employees. You could print by a press of a button in QuickBooks. You could get your 1099s out, your W-2, your 940s, 941s. As you can see, I wrote 1099. Contractors are not employees, okay? And when you set your business up and make the decision to either have subcontractors or employees, you need to know what tax forms are requested and obligated by the state or by the and federal. No matter what, you're going to owe the federal. So I wrote a little cheat sheet. As you all know, I love writing little things for you all, just to get familiarized. You know, if you pay someone, not someone, let's talk about a contractor, another company. If you pay me to set up your QuickBooks, I'm considered your subcontractor. If you pay me over $600 in 1 year, you owe me a 1099 by the end of the year. Just to kind of get you thinking. If you have employees and you're pulling out their withheld taxes, go ahead, Matt.
So like I had to hire an architect to draw a building that I would like to build. Is that considered a subcontractor?
Good question. So I'm going to talk to you in like depth. It's going to be considered a vendor, and that could actually be your subcontractor as well. Irv, if you want to jump in, feel free. But I'm going to answer yes, because you're putting a contract, you're paying for services, subcontractors. You could Google that yourself and see what qualifies under a subcontractor. Now, I'm going to go a little bit in depth. All right, Matt? So hear me out, and everyone bear with me. You need to know who you owe, okay. As an employer, you need to know who you owe a 1099 to. Not everyone is a 1099 subcontractor, meaning if you're in court, it depends on your structure. Nonprofits could be non-exempt. When you're incorporated, usually you're a contractor, so it's 1099. If your architect is an LLC, you got to double check. I don't think you could even give them a 1099. So this is why a tax accountant will put things in perspective for you. Who are you paying? Who's your vendors? They'll set you up. And I hope I answered that question a little bit better for you. And I
Yes,
think
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, Christine, I think you hit on all this, is that, you know, a contractor generally has the right to work with anybody else, not solely with you. to kind of at their discretion pick the hours that they do the work, as opposed to you defining when they start and end work. And generally, a lot of it is project driven. So I think you gave an example of an architect. An architect is someone who has lots of other clients. They could say yes or no to working with you. They can work on one client today and you tomorrow if they choose. And so they're a good example of a contract payment that you're making.
Thank you, Irvin. Yeah, I'm giving you guys basic knowledge, but this could definitely go more in depth. The more you work on your business, the more knowledgeable you're going to become. So, I think this is a great start. If you look to the business tax forms on the side, I didn't want to put too much, but there are quarterly taxes for small businesses called the 1040 form. There's, depreciation of equipment if you're going to be using big, we kind of touched a little bit about that, but oh, my favorite, claim your home office as a deduction. I do that form all the time. So just some takeaways. All right. Well,
Christy, do you want to talk about the home office for a minute, if you can? We've had people tell us that you have to be very specific about a home office, that it has to have that it can't have other things in the house that are not office. Like you can't have children's toys or a bed, or it has to have a door. It has to be like a separate room within the house. Not to get into that, and maybe our tax visitor next week can talk more about that specifically.
Yeah, I will leave that for the tax accountant. What I could tell everyone here is that they ask you specific questions on square root of your home office, the location of your home office in your home, how big is your home overall. They ask you questions on how much time you spend in your home office. And when I say these are when you're putting your tax papers together, it creates and formulates your tax deduction. And the questions you're asking, I think a tax accountant will go more in depth, because I just use the square footage versus my home. And I just move on from there. But I'm pretty sure there's more into that. I remember line items asking if I did repairs inside my home office. That's amazing. So yeah, the tax deductions could help you, or they could not help you. So just be very mindful what you're doing when it comes to reporting to the government. Thank you, Anne. So the last slide is just a summary of what you guys learned. I want you to walk away proud, in the sense that you have at least a fundamental understanding that you need to track your expenses. You need to try to project how much revenue you're going to make. You understand accounts receivables. You understand your payables. We reviewed financial statements. We talked about software and basic understanding about your tax deductions. You covered a lot. Any questions before we go on break?
Okay, if no one has any questions for Christy, Thank you very much, Christy, for going through this information and for planning to hop on with us later and maybe still be available to ask any questions we might have, answer any questions. So everyone, let's take about a 7-minute break. Come back about, it's 6:58, it's 7:05. And then we'll get started. We're going to talk about the business model canvas building block about key resources that would really determine your costs. And so it's going to go right along with what Christy is talking about. So make sure you have something to write with or type with, and we'll see you back here in about 7 minutes. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks
Bye,
so much,
everyone.
Christy and
Oh,
Herb.
thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Christy.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see if everyone is back. Is everybody ready? Move on.
Ready.
Can hear me okay?
Yep.
Thanks. So I've just changed the screen. First, I just want to say thanks again, Christy, for sharing that information. There's a lot of information for all of us to learn, be reminded of. I would encourage you to not feel overwhelmed with information if you feel like it's at some point it may feel overwhelming, but I would say it's okay to hear the information, to hear it again. You'll hear it again. You'll have help. We'll figure, you know, the universe is here to be helpful. So we're all going to help each other to make sure that you get the information that you need to succeed. So she's talking about very important information, and we're going to continue the business model canvas tonight on the key resources block. So if you see the screen, hopefully you can see that I've pulled up the business model canvas. And I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. So the key resources screen is down here. I'll just point to one on the left-hand side. And the questions they're asking us are, what key resources does our value proposition, the problem we're solving, what key resources do we need to solve this problem, to create this business, to provide this value? And they're really asking us to look at four main parts of this, of the key resources. So look at your key resources from a physical point of view, like what will you need? Do you need a building? Do you need a car? Do you need a computer? Do you need shelves? Do you need fences for your dogs? You know, think about the food, the oven. What do you physically, what physical things will you need? And then you can see under resources up here, over here, intellectual, like perhaps your brand. How will you build your brand? You know, what will you need to build your brand? Will you need, you know, to build out a website? Do you need clothes that have your logo on it? If you think about, for example, UPS or FedEx, when we see somebody coming to the door or driving down the road and you see a UPS truck or FedEx truck, you know that someone is wearing the clothes, they have the logo, there's certain paperwork that's always going to look the same. So you're going to be having your brand. That's these are resources that are going to make you succeed. If you show up to someone's house, let's just say, for example, with Shiamaro, if I'm saying your name correctly, sorry.
Yes.
You know, at the business, and you say, if you just show up and you start saying, well, I think I could make this better for you for this reason, whatever, and are not as professional as if you come with your brochure that has your logo, your information that has, you know, more, something that's really defining you. If you've hired a contractor and they come to your house and they're not wearing clothes that says where they're from, sometimes that can be, you know, concerning. You want to be reassured. So you're creating a brand. So that's part of the intellectual part. So it's the physical part. What physically will you need? We're just going to review these four and then we'll break them down and take time to write each one of them. So physically, what do we need? Intellectually, what do we need? And intellectually could be also a database. So for example, when Facebook sends you an ad or Google sends you an ad, after you've looked at a pair of shoes and then they're all of a sudden pictures of shoes are in your feed, they have, that is an intellectual, that's information that they use that helps them make money. So they have your information. My brother-in-law has his own heating and air conditioning business, which he's trying to retire from, and is in the process of selling this business. But what is he selling? He's selling his brand, and he's selling a decades-long database of people that use his service. So when we think about intellectual, like, as a resource, what that, intellectual resource is, it's all these different aspects. So the next part that you want to think about is the humans, the human resource. Every business is going to have a human resource. Think about what your business is going to require. Is it going to be someone, specifically in sales, in research, in, development? You want to just think about the different types of service for sure. For, the home health services that you're going to be providing. And then financial, like, if you have to buy inventory and stock up on things before you can sell them, if you've ever been in a retail store that seemed a little bit empty, or, it could have been a new store, it's because inventory costs money. So, and another example, we had a guy in our class a few years ago, he was selling televisions that were mounted on the wall in hospital rooms. But when he would get a contract to do this, he needed to have a line of credit from the bank. That's a financial resource, not a credit card, but a line of credit that said, hey, I just got an order for 200 televisions that are going to be put on the wall in a hospital, but I need to buy them first. So he can't sell them until he can buy them. So that's a financial resource. So you want to look at your own company from those points of view. So again, we're looking at it from what physically do you need, from the computer to the phone. And I don't mean like counting every fork and spoon if you're starting a restaurant, but that you're going to need kitchen supplies, or you're going to need an oven, a fan, and the intellectual, the human capacity, and the financial. So let's just start with physical. Think about it, jot down some notes as much as you can, and you can do it in bullet points. Think about what your particular business is going to need for physical things. So let's start with that. So again, I'm talking about buildings, a vehicle, a machine, a computer. Maybe you need cleaning supplies. Maybe you need a vacuum. Think about physically what your business is going to require, from shelving, because all of these are resources for your business, and they're all going to affect your cost structure, which is down here on the left-hand side. We're not going to talk about that right now, but there will be a cost associated with everything. But first we have to identify everything.
And can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So as far as the key resources, one of, at least for me, big is education. And presenting an idea. So I made a couple interviews with some people who work at U of R that are in charge of, subcontracting work there, to just kind of interview them and ask them questions about what goes into, what they're looking for when they subcontract out work. That would be considered a key resource for me then.
So are you talking about you're going to learn from them what they need, or is that what you're learning from
Yeah,
them?
so I set up 2 interviews to basically just ask them a lot of general questions on what they look for when outsourcing and getting, insulators or mechanical work done.
I would look at them as our partner. Like, see, there's another building block called our key partners, asking the question, who are our key suppliers? And I think what you want to actually ask is your company physically doing the work? Will your company physically be doing insulation, or are you selling insulation as an idea?
No, we would be doing the work.
Okay, if you're doing the work, we want to think very easily and clearly on this, like, what do you need to do the work?
Okay, materials.
You need
Okay.
a certain machine, like that, the intellectual, the relationship part, what you're describing, I think we would probably put that under something else, whether it's the channels or the, how we're communicating.
So resources, what I'm spending in like materials and the things that I'll need to physically do the work.
Yes. Like
Okay.
right now, we want to start with the physical resource that you're going to need. I mean, so it's a good question whether you would put that. I would look at that under partnerships. Like, that's a partner, that information that you're getting, because the intellectual part of it is really, how are you going to define yourself? You're going to be putting your company name, your company website, your company logo. You're going to have all these other expenses. Irv, did you want to hop in here?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, you are doing a good job of talking about the relationships, the partnerships that we'll look at another time. I think specifically when you're asking about tools that you need to do the installation, that would clearly fall here. If you buy the insulation and other materials, my dad used to be a general contractor. So, I mean, if you bought those materials and you get paid for them later, right, then that could be something that you need to think of as a key resource. You need a certain amount of inventory. When a plumber shows up at my house, they have a lot of equipment on the truck. But oftentimes when a contractor shows up at my house, I've given them some money so that they can buy that material ahead of time.
Okay.
So if you have to front the money, yes. If the customer is fronting the money, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I would like to add, if you don't mind,
No, go ahead.
on the canvas on the bottom, it says financial copyrights. So it gives good examples on what kind of key resources you need for your business. And Ziramara, your specific question, I interpreted it different. And what I will say to you is, if you're going to work for U of R, right, you talk to someone, one of the things they will tell you to be a vendor, that you need a key resource to do business with them, is going to be insurance.
Oh, okay.
So other businesses, you're going to need insurance.
Okay, I think I'm understanding. Thank
I
you.
think that's a great
Hola.
point, Christy. Yeah.
Es para ver,
Yes.
quisieras a ver si me podrían dar un ejemplo sobre un recurso clave para un restaurante.
Octavio, can you help me here?
A resource for a restaurant. A key resource for a restaurant.
Oh. tables and chairs,
Yeah.
oven, a very expensive fan that goes above, you know, and Barb, I'm sure could talk about this. You're still gonna have, we're talking physically, but you need pots and pans. You know, you need an industrial sink. You need the internal workings of a restaurant. You need a kitchen. You can start writing all of those things down.
Thank you.
So Anne, did I speak correctly as a key resource? Insurance would be one?
I would say yes. I would say that that is a key resource. It's something, whether we put it under the financial part, you know, like that might be like, and we're not, yeah, I mean, I think we could put insurance under, I think we could put insurance under there. But what we really want to call attention to is the different parts of your business that will have a cost, and what really are you going to need to bring this business to the people to solve the problem. Insurance would be one item.
There's a question in the chat, Anne.
Thanks.
I think it'll be great if you speak
Yep.
on it.
Yep. Sorry, I think I misunderstood. I see that examples of key resources, but I thought someone mentioned that we can see examples somewhere to help. Okay, so Jaylyn, there's just a few things listed right here on the key resources page. So for example, when we talk about physical, and did I miss another question, Edna? How do you obtain insurance? And what is recommended among? So Edna, Jaylyn, sorry, we'll just be right back. We're going to have somebody come and talk about business insurance. And we'll get all those answers, those questions answered for you, Edna. So bear with us on that question. And then, sorry, I just minimized it. As an example, Jaylyn, just to be clear, when you think about your business, yours is the Simple Pleasures business. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
With your mom, with Edna. So think about when you're creating these gift boxes or baskets, or you need the supplies, you need what's going in them. If it's something to melt chocolate, you know, you need the supplies to make that business work.
Now,
So
would that go under financial though? That's what I was trying to figure out.
I would put it for we're thinking about physical right now. So
Okay.
when you're putting things together, you have, as I understand it, you have gift boxes. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
yes.
you need packaging materials. You're going to need, think about anything that you're putting inside the boxes. You need inventory.
Right. Okay, so I kind of got a little stuck. So are we only working on physical right now? Because I was just a little stuck with human and financial.
But I think now let's move on to the other one. Let's move on to the next one, which would be the intellectual. So think about your brand.
Right. Yep. See, I did that one already as well. I was just a little stuck on human and financial. That's why I was asking for like a couple of examples for that.
Okay, so we'll see if anybody has any other questions on physical.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
13, 14.
So how is everybody doing at the moment? Do you have a sense of what type? Does anyone want to share what they've written down for physical things that they're going to need?
I can.
Go for it.
So Elite Tumbling is a gymnastics place. So the physical stuff that I'm going to need is equipment, cleaning supplies to making sure everything is sanitized down because when you sweat and stuff, like it's nasty. So
Okay,
you want
and
to
then
keep it
Kimberly, this is, sorry to interrupt you, but I've been talking too fast, and so I'm just gonna ask you to slow down just a little bit on behalf of our interpreter. Yeah.
okay. So with the gymnastics, obviously you're gonna need equipment, variety types for tumbling and flying skills and all that stuff. And I also need I will need cleaning supplies to keep it sanitary, keeping the students safe and everything. I'm trying, and you just want the physical resources that I would need, or do you want the other stuff
Well,
too?
I mean, it's a good start, but like for you, I guess it would be mats, or I mean, there's all kind. I would think there's what specifically.
Mats, stretching equipment, so for flexibility for flyers, they have these stretchy bands, ladders to work on the flexibility, these cubes to work on cartwheels going over the mats, getting tight with your legs and stuff.
Great. No, so those are good examples. So thank you for sharing that. And so Irv, yep, this is what we were talking about earlier. Irv is, I think that might be you. Yep. In the chat has added that a human, let's go down to our human resources, salespersons, an assistant, a manager. Think of the jobs you wouldn't be able to do yourself. Maybe you need help, like a chef, a dishwasher, a server. So all different types of human resources, whether it's from sales or operations. Again, is it someone in IT, or are you going to hire somebody to do your accounts receivable, perhaps, or accounts payable? With the intellectual part, just to go back to that for a second, and the branding, the reason I want to separate these a little bit is just so that you have a sense of what these different examples might be, but because everything is going to have a cost associated with it. And we want to, in the course of this program, have you come up with what these numbers are. So by putting a note to yourself, like, yep, I'm going to need this, 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 and this. Those are the resources. Those are the resources I'm going to need in order to make my business work. So think about if your company would need any financial, a financial resource. Again,
I have a question.
Inventory. Yeah, go ahead.
When we're filling out these our business plans, are we is it better to be more specific and list everything, or kind of be a little more general? How specific do they want us to be when they're reviewing these?
Well, from the business model canvas point of view, and you're looking at one page, you want to be like, you can put in what you can put in. And the point is that you've looked at everything and looked at all parts of your business and considered how they are related. So I would say when we get to the financials, which we're going to spend significant time on at the end, that's when we're going to get to every little detail. Like, we're going to start really taking notes, but you want to be able to have a sense of what these resources are. You know that you're baking cakes of a variety of styles, shapes, and interesting designs. You can put in what the main physical resources are that you're going to need. I need baking supplies. I need an oven. I need, if you're going to be doing this at a commercial, spot outside of your home at some point, or unless you are already, you're going to need the infrastructure of a kitchen. Okay. So let's just take a couple more minutes to try to write down whatever resources you think, and you can blend them all together. But try to look at it from those points of view. Again, it's up here on the business model canvas on both sides. So you'll be reminded the types of resources. And the question posed is, what is essential to delivery of our products? What is essential? So just take a couple more minutes and write a few things down, and then let's see if anyone can share what you have. Okay, does anyone, let's see what we've been writing down. I think it's helpful for people to hear what you're thinking about as far as your key resources from your business. Who would be willing to start? Maybe just share a few of what your resources are.
I can share. I'm not really sure that I did the finances part correctly, but I wrote on there finances for restocking inventory, purchasing business cards and advertisement, paying for things like classes or seminars to help like continue my education in what I'm doing, and paying employees. Does that fall under that too, or?
I would put that under your needing a human resource. Like if you're going to need if you're going to hire someone, what you want to just be putting as a resource is staff. And then when we put under the cost structure, when we go to the building blocks that identify what those costs are, right now we just want to know what we need to make it work. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, so you're on mute right now, but
Yeah, so you said it would be things that we would need to have the business run.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you think I'm going to need staff, then you could say I'm going to need a part-time baker or somebody like that. And when we get to the building block on the left-hand bottom side cost structure, then we can start identifying what these costs are actually going to mean to your business.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Kayla.
I can share some of mine that I wrote down.
Thanks, Amy. Go for it.
Do you want me to do all four or just the last
Sure.
couple we've been? Okay, so physically, obviously, we have a horse barn that we need reconstruction of the whole thing. But outside of that, you know, fencing and gates and desks and daycare play area stuff and leashes and bowls and refrigerators, and I could go on. Intellectual, obviously we already have our logo, but making sure that we have clothing with our logo, application and waivers, have our logo, sending out report cards to our doggy daycare clients, to their owners. As far as human resources, we have already secured an accountant and a lawyer, and hopefully we'll be working with M&T. And then when we do open, we'll.
Can I ask you just one on that? So regarding like the consulting, those would be consultants probably, but as far as the human resources to run Charlie's Canine Camp, would you need a staff of helpers?
We need a couple, you know, kennel attendants, probably an office manager, another trainer, a full-time groomer. Yeah, we're trying to play around with actually how many we'll need. I'm sure the finances will help us determine that.
Yeah.
And some of the financial things that we'll need is our software program to not only make appointments, but for point of sale purposes. We'll need insurance. Like to have a savings because we'll have a retail store as well. So money that we can already pay for that's sitting on the floor. So that's what I have.
That's all. Yeah, that's a thoughtful list going there. It's a good example. Who's next?
You're reminded to speak slowly, please.
Thank you, Octavio. Thank you, Daniela.
I can go.
Thanks, Matt. Did you hear? We've been asked to speak slowly.
Yes, okay.
Or just pause. Pause between sentences, I think, was better than slow.
Sure. So for physical needs, I said I need a building, food, coffee, equipment, a point of sales, kitchen supplies, front of house equipment, back of house equipment, a computer, shelving for both front of house and back of house, front of house.
Take it a little slower, just a little slower.
Sure, sorry.
No, that's good, Matt. Keep going.
Front of house dishes, decor, tables, chairs, couches. And then for equipment back of house, I said I need an oven, a griddle, a stove, shelving, a 3-bay sink, a sprinkler system, fridges, freezers. For front of house, I said I need an espresso machine, an espresso grinder, a coffee grinder. I also need insurance, disposable cups, boxes, etc., cleaning supplies, tablets for the point of sale, a printer. And for intellectual, I said logo, Facebook, Instagram, and a website. And for human resources, I said I would need 2 baristas per shift, 1 cook per shift plus myself, 1 manager. And then for financial, I said I need a business loan and my own personal assets to throw in.
So what I'm thinking as you're listing all this, Matt, thank you for sharing that, is how we're going to put this on the business model canvas. And I think someone else asked this question. So we could take this information, the detailed information, and we can put this in when we when we do our financials, we're going to have a price associated for each one of those items at some point. And it's going to determine your cost structure. But when you're looking at a one-page business model canvas and you want to show it to, for example, Octavio and say, hey, take a look at my business model canvas. And he's going to look at this and he'll say, oh, for Matt's place, he needs all these front house, back of house, restaurant supplies, decor, insurance. You know, we want to probably summarize in a way that we can put it on the business model canvas. But we also can take this separately into, into more, to take those details, and they can all get plugged in to our financials when we start putting them into an Excel sheet. But so thank you for sharing that. So just as a reminder, we're looking at all of these important parts of your business and need to be able to get a sense of everything kind of quickly by looking at what does he need. If you're starting, a horseback riding farm, you need horses, and I need trails, and I need, saddles, whatever. I need everything that I need. It may too give you a sense of what you don't need immediately. You want to look at what you really absolutely need to get started. But when you start defining the costs of these, when we get to the cost structure, you may say, maybe I can wait 6 months or a year on this particular part of my business.
Yes, and I wanted to add to that, being part of the first cohort last year, this exercise is to get you thinking of what you might need. And as we get down to the workshops where you're going to be presenting, if you decide to do your pitch, myself and other people, we're going to guide you on how to present to investors your business plan on what you need to achieve your goal. And your goal is to open your business. So take this exercise as thinking ahead, but later on we will be bringing it down a little bit.
That's perfect, Christy. Yeah, that's a big help. Thank you. Yeah. Who else will share with us? It's very helpful to hear what you're
I can
thinking
share.
about. Great. Thanks, Kimberly.
Okay, so I have the
You just went on mute somehow. Can you hear us, Christy?
I could hear, I'm sorry.
I can't hear. Kimberly, are you, you're on mute for some reason. Try now. There you go. Can you hear us, Christy? Kimberly?
Oh yeah, my phone was ringing, so
Oh, okay.
it cut me off. Okay. Okay, so I was finishing off of the cooking supplies, personal care needs, and just receipt books and a laptop. Now the intellectual part, I would just need like I guess business cards, business classes, the trainings like we're doing now, and talk to others who have started their businesses in my field. And then for human, I guess, resources, maybe staffs or volunteers such as families or people in the community. And then financials, just advertisement, brand insurance and software and budgeting. And that's all I have.
Okay, so I think we're confusing like the resource, the little bit of the financial part, like a financial resource would be if you needed to have a whole like line of credit or something like that, you needed to regularly buy inventory, that would be a resource you need. So we're not talking right now about what some of the things that you just listed.
Okay.
But we missed the top part with your physical part, and I just want to make sure. I think a couple of the things that you said, maybe it was under the intellectual part, was the brand. Excuse me, the business cards. And what did you say after the business cards?
You mean for the intellectual or the physical?
Do the intellectual one.
I just had business trainings and talked to others who started their businesses in my field. So
Okay, so what we're talking about too is like,
maybe I got that mixed up.
Your brand is going to be your website. It's going to be how you present yourself to the public. It's how you communicate with the public. Like, you're building a brand of service. You're building this brand of service. It's going to be repeatedly seeing how you communicate with people who are seeking care for themselves or for an elderly or someone that needs care at home. And it's really like, that's when they're talking about building your brand, it's your website that is going to be, you know, maybe there's a cost, there will be a cost associated with your website, but your resource, it's going to be a resource if people can find you because of your marketing. And when you show up at someone's house and you're wearing clothing that has your logo on it, or you're following up with people after a visit, or you have a regular system, it's just what are these resources that you're going to need to make it successful that are going to cost you money? Christy, is there anything you want to add to that?
I could. You know, I learned from trial and error. And one expense was Google ads. Advertising. Where do you want to place your company? That's an expense. You might need to do research, but just to kind of give you an idea. My business cards, I decided to put, because my company is a technology company as well. So I decided to create a QR code, not knowing that the program I chose cost a fee. So just ideas. Your domain, you have to pay for your www. Your email address. Do you want to use Gmail that's free? Or do you want to put your brand and create an email address specified to your business? These are expenses we don't think about. I didn't think about it until I was faced with them. Thank you.
Yeah, this is all very helpful information just to hear. And thank you, Octavio. Whoops.
You're welcome.
So thanks for sharing that, Kimberly. And I do hope that we go into some more depth like that, Christy, like when we're talking about building our brand. And we have covered a little bit of marketing, but we hope to be doing more marketing in the future, supplementing these classes too. But everything is going to have a cost. And so this is what we're just trying to bring up, what the potential for these resources are to and what the costs are going to be. So pardon me, I'm looking at multiple messages here. Okay, so we have time for what, like one more, would one more person be willing to share what they're looking at?
I can go.
Thanks, Melissa.
All right, so I'm sorry about that. I have my kids in the background.
That's okay.
So I do have, for my physical, I do have equipment, which is laptop, monitors. I did put printer and books. For intellectual, I put logos, social media platforms. I do plan to advertise on all my social media platforms. Business cards, and for my human part, I'm looking to have an assistant in the future once everything picks up. And then for my financials, I'm looking to have a line of credit, insurance, cash. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So thank you very much for sharing that. Let's see, I think there's so does anyone have any questions right now for as we end this evening? I want to just want to make sure that we're reflecting on what is my business really going to need to make sure that I can do what I feel like I need to do, what the business needs to do, not whether or not we have the money for it yet. Just think of it from the perspective of, this is what this company needs to offer my value proposition, my solution, this business, this problem we're solving for society. This is what I'm going to need to make it work. So try to like let your subconscious think about what you really need to make it work. Try to write these details down, and then we're gonna be talking about what activities are what you're gonna need, the key activities on Thursday that correspond to these resources. So the resources are what we need, and then the activities are what we need to do, what we're actually going to have to do. So I can bake something, but I have to have the oven and the materials, and then I actually have to bake it. Like I have to actually produce the materials. Who has any final questions for this evening? Does anyone have any questions, comments, ideas that they would like to share? I think Mary, I don't want to say your name wrong. Maricelli, you have had your place for over a year, you said. Do you want to share anything about that? If you can hear me. Okay. There's been some helpful comments in the chat. Yes, I can hear you now. Thanks, Maricelli.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yes, I've been here about a year, and we started back in 2021 on Park Ave. And from Park Ave, we actually opened a center. So we have been seeing women here. We service women, we service families, we service marriages, children. We have a therapist here, part-time therapist. And she comes in on Thursdays and I want to say Tuesdays and Thursdays. And every other Saturdays, we might have like free group settings for women in regards to like healing or any type of anxiety group that we offer. We offer groups for at times for addictions, or we do offer for depression. And anything that has to do with women, I service, and anything that has to do with couples, my husband and I, we service together. And we also serve men, so he usually sees the men.
So from a business perspective, What have you learned in a year from the resources you thought you might need to what you actually needed?
Actually, there's a lot of things that you might not think that you need. We had to fix the entire place here because if you do rent somewhere, a lot of the renters or a lot of the places you rent, they might not fix for you. So you might have to renovate the entire place.
Well, that's a very helpful tip. So,
yes.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a very helpful tip. I knew a pizzeria, a guy that had a pizzeria. He still has it in South Buffalo.
Okay.
And he had the same situation. He found that they had to pay a lot of money to renovate the building. And there's no guarantee that your lease is going to stay. So you have to be kind of aware of these possibilities too.
Yeah, especially if you want a cheap lease and you fix it yourself, then they might work with you. Unless you want them to fix it, then it's going to be a very high lease.
Well, I want to thank everyone for your participation today and for hanging in there with us as we are going through this without Tanya and Augustine tonight. But Octavio, thank you. Christy, Daniela, I know
You're
that
welcome.
Danny is doing an amazing job. And thank you for everyone for
Yeah, thanks everybody for your input.
for sharing. Yeah, we still we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Christy, again, thanks, and Daniela, thanks.
Welcome.
I hope everyone has a lovely evening tonight.
All right. Hope to
Good
see you
night.
guys in the workshop.
Great
Bye.
job.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night, Louis.